Let's see. All right, just trying to get the rock fan on first. Then we can get this party started. There we go. Go live. All righty then. I already see a couple of friends out in the crowd. What's up? What's up? What's up? I see Extra Bulla, Uncle Warren out there. I see Hamza out there. To anybody else who's in the chat, what's up? Much love to those of y'all who celebrate Christmas. A Merry Christmas to y'all. Mr. Cy Lawson, how are we doing tonight, brother? Oh, let me on mute.
Okay, yeah, what's good, everybody? Whoever's in the crowd watching from wherever, thank you. Everything is good, Marcus. How about you? And same to you. Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates.
Yeah, and I'm doing well, but I first want to start off with. So, how are you doing with the Jets? How the Jets lost to the Jags, and how the Giants just went down to the Cowboys, with Buffalo doing so well.
well, you know, I was about to say, as far as the Jets go, I don't really care. The Giants today just blew it against Minnesota earlier today.
Yeah.
You know, they were down 8. They came back at the end, and they freaking they were down 8. They came back and actually tied the game, and then they gave up a 61-yard field goal to lose the game.
Yeah, y'all let a boy go ham on y'all.
Yes.
Y'all let old boy go off for what, like 135 receiving yards, 12 receptions.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah. That was ugly. I see Mr. Streets is in the building. He says, got y'all on deck. Be back in a sec.
Oh, Streets, what's up, man?
Much love. I see Hamza is back. I guess Hamza.
Hamza.
In fact, I think I was bringing up Hamza's articles last week and throwing a little shout out to him. So glad to see he's back. Much love to everybody. It's on the Rock Finn side. Whew. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got a lot, but we don't have a lot at the same time.
Correct. Oh, sidebar real quick. Marcus, I watched I finally finished the episode that you did, the interview you did with, I can't remember, Brimler? Is that his name? Or Bimler?
Sibrel.
Yeah, Sibrel. I don't know.
Mark Sibrel, yeah.
No, that was good. That was good.
Yeah. I tried to hit him up with a couple of questions, which other people don't necessarily hit him with. And so, and, you know, I've been in communication with him still after the interview. So it's definitely going to be a part 2. That part 2, I'm letting everybody know while we are on YouTube, that part 2, because I went back and forth with it. I was like, should I simulcast and do it on both? Should I do it premium on Rockfin, and then if it's okay, come back and do it and upload it on YouTube? Because I didn't know which categories I was going to, what all subjects I wanted to go into. And then I was like, nah, I just want most people to be able to see this, so I'll do it this way. And then I'll put it out there for everybody so they know next time around, the next interview, we're going to get into, I say go to bartsibrel.com or sibrel.com and go and check out some of his views on some of the stuff concerning the pandemic and some of these other things. Let's just say he's an ally. I'll leave it there.
You gotta say no. You gotta say no more.
And so that's going to be a very interesting conversation that we will have the second time around. We're going to get into a lot more stuff. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about the pandemic. We're going to talk some WEF, World Economic Forum. Yeah, I see Dr. Shiva. I think did I show Dr. Shiva last time? Yeah, I showed that clip that you sent me. But we will go more into it. I'm just kind of waiting on some of that stuff for after the new year when things start heating back up, because, you know, with the holidays right now, everybody, even those world leaders, are going to be kind of on their chill shit for a minute. Well, on their chill shit in front of the camera, anyways, because there's all those all the vacations and sending is out of session and all that stuff like that. So when they get back, things gonna be popping a little bit more. Plus, I've been seeing a lot of movement with the whole Russia-Ukraine stuff, which we'll get into a little bit of that later on. But I figure I'll go on ahead. We'll kick the intro, and then we'll see you guys on the other side, and I'll give you guys all the topics that we're gonna go into tonight. All right, so give me a sec.
You are here because you have a question. Really get down to understanding this political matrix.
Out there, the stunt double. He walked out. He's got an oximeter on his back. I'm like, you gotta keep this other. Marcus said on his other show. He was like, American politics is simply pro wrestling.
He became afraid of everyone because people were reporting on each other.
We're living out Minority Report too as well. And you know what? You know why we know that, boss? Because we've been reporting on it. Yeah, I know.
All the black people in this country be willing to take a reservation.
That's what the Nation of Islam was asking for.
Put a couple of clips together.
It's crazy to see how much Martin Luther King really began to look like, damn, man, Malcolm was fucking right.
I mean, what is the elite's end game?
There's this assumption that as a black commentator or black journalist that you're not informed.
Relationships, that's a skill we have to learn.
It's even more kind of mind-blowing because we're supposed to be the multicultural space.
Trying to drum up money to keep the war machine going so they can keep the donors happy.
Yeah. Do the Chinese own part of that?
Began a long time ago. Ukraine has had a neo-Nazi problem for decades.
Proof of sanction, am I right?
I don't know if Domcopters will do it, but something's got to be able to save the world.
From the private industry here.
Like I say, people come on here, they can say stuff they don't normally say on their own shows, which is fine.
Oh, it's McDonald's. Whoop-de-doo.
Ooh.
And their cholesterol is going to go down. Yeah, good.
Look, we only exist because we have the biggest military, kid.
And silencing a person like Julian Assange. Because it affects everybody. And today, last week, believe you me, because they know who you are. They watch. They got people that's going out there. They don't want you guys having the conversations that you're having on this show. Mm-hmm. So it affects the political matrix today.
Hello, all of our friends out there. Welcome to the Political Matrix. I'm Young Morpheus here with my good brother, colleague, co-host, Mr. Cy Lawson. I see, I hope I say her name correctly, Linnea Cannon said, where's Nico been? Nico's been kind of doing more of the TikTok thing lately. So that's what he's kind of more been up to. But I could definitely reach out to him if you guys would like. I want to actually have him back on here soon. So you guys probably will see Nico sometime soon. Elon giving away crypto, but you gotta buy some before you get some. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, for this night before Christmas show, as I titled it that because I was like, I don't even know how to put all this stuff in the title. I know you guys seen the thumbnail, or if you didn't see the thumbnail because it was already live, let me go into it a little bit. Shout out to Baba and Travius over there on Rockfin. If you guys don't notice something a little bit different about the thumbnail, I put like a layer of snow over this one. Because of the massive blizzards that we have going on across the mostly the northern part of the country, into the
It's even chilly. It's even chilly down here tonight.
Yeah, I saw something the other day. It said Atlanta was like 14 degrees, and in KC it was -5 that day. So Even the areas where they say that it didn't, that it's the snow might have stopped, they still have blizzard conditions coming in with wind gusts of anywhere from 40 to 80 miles an hour from what I've been hearing. So it's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I wanted to throw in. I use my little thumbnail, which I created for the whole Biden, Putin, Zelensky thing, because if you guys missed it, Zelensky was on the floor during the State of the Union speech, begging for more money. You know, which is kind of weird to me. I never really noticed before, but out there in the chat, tell me how many of y'all that he kind of sounds like Borat. That's what I hear. I start thinking Borat. You know, that's a very nice. But
Hey, look, you know, keep in mind, you know, if he, to the extent that he does sound like Borat, he is an actor, so he most likely could he probably could at least emulate. I mean, not emulate. He could probably imitate the Borat accent really well.
Well, it is his natural accent because you got to remember, what is that? It's supposed to be Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan's like right in that area. It's all part of the former, you know, Soviet Union. I don't know, Chris. Did you see this clip yet of what's her name? Council member Tania Fernandez Anderson.
No, you have to show me. Tania Fernandez Anderson.
Yeah, she kind of let out some of her frustrations, and some of this stuff is some things which I kind of watch on my own and don't really necessarily go into on the show. But I've heard some comments, some content creators, you know, making some different statements, and I disagree with their statements so vehemently. I'm not trying to embarrass anybody or go after anybody, but I just think that we have some people in the leftist sphere that because they're so focused on class struggle, that they think that there is no race struggle. And so I want to just pull up some of this stuff so we can bring to light some different things and just, I don't know, maybe put some stuff into context. I know most of the audience, y'all don't, this isn't necessarily for you guys, but maybe I need to get it off my chest. So maybe some of these people that think that way. And the content creator who was kind of saying some of the stuff that sparked this, I will talk to them, you know, off to the side. You know, I have respect for them. I believe they have respect for me. So I'm going to kind of say, hey, you know, I think that you're kind of missing some things in some of your analysis here. So we're going to go into that. I know we talked about the Elon Musk brain chips, but I wanted to go back over some more of the brain implant stuff, which I don't know. I might have to save that for later in the show, possibly onto the Rockfin side, just because I worry about, you know, just a regular copyright strike, not necessarily saying anything wrong, but, you know, sometimes when you get a video from these bigger channels that they can just hit you with a copyright strike anyway. And then some really good stuff that I saw on talking about what is it called? Nuclear and quantum fission. So it's some interesting stuff going on to talk about. And so along with that, Councilwoman, I'm going to show a couple of other things that have kind of been going on in that same wheelhouse. We'll talk about all of that. Sorry, I know that was a mouthful, Chris. A little bit of a long intro. But yeah, that's what I had. It says Elon is Antichrist. Well, here's the thing, Hamza. What is an Antichrist? You know, Antichrist is not, I mean, I know Christianity, they have this viewpoint that, I'm gonna take this off, get a little warmer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, Thomas.
What Thomas said. Well, Antichrist is anybody who's
read this. Look, Thomas need a beer and a blunt.
So me, Me and my fam and friends just dug out a 15-foot drifts, nearly covering our entire house in South Dakota. We had 2 blizzards dropping 40 inches of snow. I miss Oklahoma. Oh, yeah. My heart goes out to you. I mean, a lot of people who live on the coast just don't know what it's like to go through this stuff, and they think, oh well, ooh, some snow, that's cool, that's fun. Snow is fun to an extent. When it starts getting out of control like that, is nothing fun about it. And with the temperatures that's facing those regions, nothing is fun about that at all. I'm telling you.
Yo, Thomas, take it easy.
What is that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely take it easy. Let's see. Baba said at least February 19th, rage against the war machine in Washington D.C. will be popping off. Anti-war movement reawakens. Claire Daly, Mike Wallace, lots of people involved. Yeah. Make sure you guys all keep an eye on that. And Baba, please remind me to always bring it up. That way that people can be involved in it or try to make plans to make their way out there. Yeah, I wanted to go back into this brain chip thing and some of that stuff because I just think that's right. I said I'm going to save that for later. I'll save it for later. Is the Antichrist like antifreeze? I got nothing. Wow. All right, so and then I forgot. Then we got the whole which Chris will have to fill you guys more in with that the whole Meg the Stallion and Tory Lane stuff. I do not know much about it. All I know is heard a conviction. So Chris, what's going on that whole Meg the Stallion and Tory Lane's front?
I mean, if we're being quite honest, it's a whole lot of nasty shit that just occurred. Like really nasty.
What do you mean by like a lot of nasty shit has occurred?
Outright lies from the victim, lies from the main witness. You have a bumbling eyewitness. It's crazy. I want to ask any of the women watching tonight. I have a simple question for them because on all of the social media sites, for the last 2 years in relation to this case, it's been protect Black women, believe Black women. That's been the call around this, right? Because the allegation was that this guy, Tory Lanez, the singer, shot Meg the Stallion in her feet, shot her in both feet, right? So I would just like to, before I go into the case, I would just like to ask women this question. And if your lady's around, Marcus, ask her too.
No, it's not here.
What would you do if you found out, as a woman, what would you do if you found out that your best friend was having sex with the guy you were having sex with? What would your reaction be in real time finding that out?
I'm curious to see.
I'm just, like I said, I'm just, I don't know any woman that probably wouldn't get violent with her friend, of course, and then best friends at that, right? Really quickly, if you refer back to Meg's Gayle King interview on CBS or whatever network it's on, we had only heard tidbits of information about the incident that took place between her and Tory Lanez in July of 2020. It wasn't until Meg the Stallion came out. It wasn't until Meg the Stallion came out and did that interview with Gayle King that we found out more information pertaining to the incident. Meg gave her account. She said a number of things in that interview. From day one of the trial, that interview was the only thing we had. That's why I keep referring to it, because it was the only thing we had that gave us any extended details about anything that occurred that night. Day one of trial. So much of what she said was proven to be a lie, right? One of the questions she was asked, did she even have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? In the interview, Meg said no, she did not. First day of trial, early on, she's on the stand. She had to admit that she had an intimate sexual relationship with Tory Lanez. The naysayers will say that her sexual escapades are not on trial here. But it is very important to note that all of this is because Tory Lanez was sleeping with Meg's friend first. Meg double-timed her friend and slept with Tory Lanez after. All of this comes out when they're super drunk in the car. The eyewitness to the case, the independent eyewitness who is not a party to anybody, he was just somebody who was home, heard the commotion and looked outside, right? When he looked outside, he saw two women fighting. We never heard this account from Meg nor Kelsey. Kelsey's the friend in question. So there's a fight. All of us like, oh, okay, they fought. Interesting. All right, cool. What else does the eyewitness say? He saw the girl, the shorter girl of the two, run to the car, get a gun, shots were fired. Right? Tory's the one facing charges. The investigators spoke with the independent witness. The independent witness said that he witnessed the girl shooting. They only filed charges against Tory Lanez. DNA was inconclusive as it relates to Tory Lanez. Gunshot residue was on him. More was found on Kelsey Harris, who is Meg Thee Stallion's best friend. If these two girls were best friends, why would they be fighting? They were fighting over the fact that Tory Lanez had just revealed to Kelsey that night, this after 6 bottles of Henny. So you know the devil was in them. You understand what I'm saying? So after 6 bottles of Henny, you find out that your girl is fucking your dude behind your back. You're going to snap on her. And that's exactly what she did. And the prosecution, the prosecution chose to go after the courts, or the state rather, chose to file charges on Tory Lanez. Let's keep in mind that during the trial, we find out that the witness, Kelsey Harris, was granted immunity. If you're a witness to a crime, why would you need to be granted immunity? For what? You know, it just doesn't make any sense, because if I witnessed a crime and I see a crime, I shouldn't be granted immunity for anything. You understand what I'm saying? If I'm just a witness. So the fact that she was granted immunity while on the stand shows that even the prosecution was aware that she probably did something that they weren't going to prosecute her for, that they were going to use him as, you know, the fall guy for this incident. And keep in mind, too, that there's a lot of money behind Meg Thee Stallion. There's a lot of investments. If you just look over the course of the last 2 years or so, you can see she's been placed everywhere, right? She-Hulk, New York Times, you know, and the rest of it. I don't think there's many in here. Streets, but Streets. If you ask your lady, Streets, I wonder what her response would be.
Chris, I'm gonna read this question from Travius. He says, "I heard they wanted Tory because he owns his own music rights. Don't know how true that is, though. What's your thoughts on that? Is that a possible reasoning for some of the stuff going on?"
Well, I guess it could be, right? But he was independent. He was free. He was free of his label deal. I believe he was signed to Interscope, and I think he got out of his deal either 2019 or early 2020. But at some point, in 2020, he was free of his deal. And I believe he retained his masters and all the rest of it. Oh, I see Pretty in the chat.
I don't know.
Did Pretty say something? I thought I saw her say something.
Isn't Meg related to George Floyd?
You know, I'm not sure. I didn't hear that.
Oh, you wanted her other comment? Oh, here it is.
Yeah. Oh. The girl shot her, evidence was suppressed. That's what I'm saying. Dog, look at it this way, right? Who would have motive to shoot the girl at night? Tory Lanez, who was mad
Ruby.
about getting who would have who would have had the motive, right? Let's look at motive. Who had the motive to bring harm to Meg Thee Stallion? The guy who was having sex with her, who was maybe mad at her for her acting up at a get-together, or the best friend who was mad that she just realized that her friend was fucking the dude she was?
I don't know. It's a hot, it's a hot mess situation.
It's a hot mess, and you know what it resulted in? That homeboy is theoretically he could face 22 years in prison over this.
Whoa!
And the girl wasn't.
Well, I heard he got convicted, right? He just hasn't been charged.
No, he's been convicted. He hasn't been sentenced.
That's what I meant. Sentenced. That's what I meant.
Yeah, he was guilty. They had 3 charges against him, and he was found guilty of all 3. But given that, now Marcus, peep this. Tell me how this makes sense. The eyewitness Kelsey, she gave a statement to the police. Oh yeah, I'll tell them that.
Okay.
The Kelsey, the witness and Meg's best friend, she gave a statement to the police in September, right? September. In that statement, she said that she witnessed Tory Lanez shoot Meg Thee Stallion. He threatened to shoot her as well, etc., right? So she's pinning it on him. She's like, yeah, I saw Marcus do this. It was Marcus, da-da-da-da. Okay. Fast forward 3 months. You're under oath. What happened? She said, everything I told the police in September was a lie. And then she said this under oath now. So your main witness to this incident said that the statement I gave you is a lie. Yo, based on this, his case should have been thrown out, or he should have been found not guilty of at least 2 of the charges, at the very least.
Well,
But
and
they found
shouldn't she be facing an additional charge, because that would be what is it, obstruction of justice, lying in a police investigation.
That's what I'm saying. You see, Marcus, you just had that. Now, keep in mind, the prosecution at this time, after she said she lied, they said, don't worry, you've got immunity. The eyewitness, like
that's
I said,
why that's why that she had the immunity allegedly.
And then keep in mind, as I said earlier, the eyewitness said he saw her shoot, and there's no charge for her. I know. I see what Pretty just said.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a good one, Pretty.
But that's what Meg allegedly said, though. When this initially happened, Meg said that when Tory was shooting at her from over the car door, that he said, dance, bitch, and he started shooting at her. That was a lie.
That's for real? That's really part of the case?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, man.
Yo, it's so... It's really messed up too, because homeboy was just convicted. He'll appeal, obviously. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what will happen with the appeal, but there were just so many other things that happened, like the Rolling Stones coverage, Billboard's coverage, NBC's coverage of this was completely one-sided and highly biased. For someone such as myself who paid very closely to this, it was quite clear that they were Team Megan all day. Even as the facts came out, even as the lies were highlighted, these publications still continue to be Team Meg. It was really disgusting to watch. And all this time we screaming, protect black women, but it was 2 black chicks who got in a fight. It was 2 black chicks who, one of them shot at each other. As the canon person here says, ratchetness to the highest degree.
Exactly.
Drunk as hell. Now, Marcus, you want to hear how it gets even weirder? Tory Lanez was about to have sex with Kylie Jenner. That's why Meg got mad.
Oh, wow. Man, some people might not say that. Some people might say that I'm messed up for saying this, but I noticed these rap singers they need to be careful with their woman drama, because this now he's about to mess with Kylie Jenner. This reminds me a whole lot of like the Chris Brown shit.
Similar. And
but what a lot of people don't know is at that time she had found a text from Paris Hilton. So he was allegedly messing her. Well, at the time I knew people who were really involved in some of this stuff, and like, I mean, from word of another person here, heard like direct things that were said during the conversation before it got physical. Just like Rihanna hitting him and saying, "Yeah, I'm beating you up, you little bitch, just like your stepfather used to do to you." Now, for those who don't know, his stepfather used to abuse him. But just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, and on Twitter, right, and social media, I'm sorry to say, there's a lot of silly black women out there who just jumped on the Meg Thee Stallion train just because they like her, and they felt they like her, and she was saying she shot and she was a victim because, you know, she was injured. She was not actually shot. The bullet hit the ground or something. It ricocheted, and she had scratches in her feet. There were no broken bones. They said there was bullet fragments in her foot, but the hospital lost the bullet fragments. I mean,
ooh, man, come on. Hospitals don't just lose bullet fragments.
In high-profile cases. And not for nothing, bullet fragments would be used in every single case that would come up in the hospital.
Well, here's another thing. The moment that the hospital wouldn't have the bullet fragments, because the moment that they take those out, law enforcement, the detective would be seeking that. Even if you did try to say, well, they lost him, that hospital would be turned inside and out, and somebody would be going to jail also for that loss of evidence. Because it could be deemed very easily that you didn't lose the evidence, you destroyed evidence. And so tampering with evidence, that's another charge right there. I doubt some random person at the hospital is going to risk getting a tampering with evidence charge to it. Never mind.
That's correct. That's what I'm saying, bro. And just like everything else, the side with the money, the media, the influence, the power, that is the side that won. So we'll see on the appeals if anything comes out. But I could spend probably another 2 hours talking about it, because like it is really, really, really like this shit goes real deep.
Well, if we have some time later on, we could always hop back into it and go into it. I mean, thank you, Ian. I'm gonna make sure to check this out. Ian sent me over something about Manly P. Hall, which I do like digging into stuff about Manly P. Hall. I mean, for those who follow this channel should know that a lot of this new age religions and stuff like this, Christ consciousness, stuff like that, comes from this esoteric schools with the Manly P. Halls and the Elena Blavatsky and all these different movements. And I don't care what anybody who you talk to who they try to turn it into something different. It ain't nothing different. It is exactly from this kind of esoteric BS. That said, and I was going to respond to Baba real quick. It is pretty strange that they flag it on YouTube, and it's supposed to just be theoretical, about the ecto-life chambers. It's supposed to be theoretical. It's not. But so why are they even so worried about it? Because it's something that somebody, I guarantee you, is working on. And they deem it as theoretical to be on the safe side. But I guarantee you somebody's literally working on this thing somewhere. And they're just not going to mention it until they have it up and running and worked out as many kinks as they can and see what they can kind of smooth over. But they want to soften the public up to these types of things. That's the reason why we see this stuff in movies and entertainment. That's the reason why they did it the way they did it. They could have just came out on stage and talked about it. but the fact of how they made that whole, dramatization and commercials and all that about it, it should have you questioning. Says cameras don't work in prisons or in French tunnels when princesses are driving through them either. You're right about that. You are
Correct.
right about that.
Yeah, so it's look, shit happens in court all the time, and it was just really embarrassing to watch the amount of black women who behaved how they did. You know what I'm saying? It's really online. It's really embarrassing because they really acted like they had no fucking brain, and I just got to keep it real.
Where is this at, Yipper? Oh man, I'm gonna have to look this up. But make sure to remind me when I get a moment. I'm gonna look that up. Yipper says Whoopi Goldberg made a Holocaust comment again. Oh, I want to hear it.
Did she?
I want to hear it. No, I know that this is what I'll have to do. The moment anybody that wants to hear my thoughts, like my candid thoughts on this, y'all let me know, and I will set up a private one. I can't even do it on Rockfin, going into some of my thoughts on all this. So y'all let me know who want to do it. For those who are not on social media, let me know. I'll put my email in the chat, and then we can go into it, and I can walk you through some of the evidence and research that I've done. That's all I'll say on that whole matter. Oh shoot, Ross has made it. She is here. Travis was asking, what is ectolife? Ectolife are these pods which they are theoretically working on to basically have a what is it? Basically grow your child in a pod. It's supposed to be taking the egg and taking your she just found the rock fan. Sweet. Make sure to share it with anybody and everybody you can. But these pods where they can basically grow babies. Yeah, exactly. Growing pods for babies. That's exactly what it is. And not to mention be able to engineer your baby to have, like, say you want the kid to be lighter complected, darker complected, want the kid to have lighter eyes, darker eyes. For all I know, you probably could even decide the sex of the baby. Or you can decide that it's going to have, the possibility of growing multiple. Who knows the level of calculations they have that they have planned for this thing. But if you've definitely seen The Matrix, if you've seen, yes, exactly, clone stormtroopers, Attack of the Clones, this is what we're talking about with these ectolife chambers. So yes, so artificial wombs. Yes, it goes back to the episode that we did with Ali when we were talking about the artificial wombs and growing the lambs. And yes, that's another example, like Gattaca. For those that haven't seen that, go check that shit out. That's what I said. Linnea says, theoretical my ass. When they let the public know things, they've been doing it for years. Exactly. They're just trying to get to a point where they've worked it out and they know what they're doing. Thomas here says, growing your own child in a pod is creepy as fuck. LOL. It sounds like eugenics. See, I made the point because I heard Savvy was talking about it too the other day, and I said that. Well, this is my point of view. They like Savvy and her audience. They were kind of coming to the conclusion that this is so that they can replace the workforce. I don't think that this is what this is for. They're going to have machines that's going to replace the workforce. What this is going to be is for their private militaries and for their private police forces. So when it gets to the point when police officers don't want to start doing the crazy shit that they're going to start asking them to do when it gets to martial law and things like that, they're already going to have their clone army ready and waiting. They're not going to have to worry about, okay, well, how many troops that we lose in war? We can just grow it. Because I think that the thing said that they had the ability that They plan to have the ability to grow up to 30,000 babies a year. And so, especially if they have some kind of technology where they can do advanced aging and age them up, you know, where it only takes them a handful of years to get them to an adult status. I mean, another movie that I would throw out there, Gemini Man, the whole Gemini program where Will Smith, he's going against the younger version of himself, which basically is a clone. This is what we're talking about here. Yeah, no more surrogates needed. That's another good movie to reference. All these movies like, what is it? I, Robot. All of this stuff is all in the same wheelhouse. Oh, what's that, Chris?
I'm saying
they want to replace the human beings as we are. This is about spiritual warfare as well. Yes, sorry, secular folks.
I mean, you can see everything they do is meant to attack, like, who we are.
That's another one. That's another one, A. Ross. You know, The Island.
Oh yeah, I saw that movie too. Yeah,
that's another one. So they get into a car accident, they can grow a second one of themselves, so that way that they can do, you know, whatever kind of transplant they need. This is all about the elites trying to preserve themselves. And I like how they said in the commercial that, oh, well, it's supposed to be to help some of these populations that are having growth issues like Japan. And I think they said like some country in like in Eastern Europe. And they threw it at like these random ones. Well, the people who are having the biggest population problems is the European population. They're the ones who are having the fastest decline in growth rate. That's and in America also. That's where these what are they called? These people who think there's a white genocide that's happening, which I think that's kind of a ridiculous term. A genocide, it indicates that somebody is doing something to you. If you're not reproducing, that is not anybody else's fault. How about you just go out there and you go find as many white women as you can and impregnate them all? Then you don't have to have that problem. That's not like some black and brown and Asian people are killing you, you know. So that whole white genocide stuff, this is where a lot of that thinking goes to. While you have people who, well, I do believe that top shooting in Buffalo was about the water powered car, but while they use the narrative that was it the Church Life shooting that happened in New Zealand, that was about trying to kill brown people. And yeah, Repo Man, that's another one. They tell us what they're doing all the time, but most people cannot fathom that these people are really that twisted, because most of us have a hard time thinking outside of the lens of ourselves and the people around us. We wouldn't do none of this shit. We don't think this way. But you better get it into your heads. They think this way. They operate this way. And if more of us can start understanding that and looking at that reality, then we can understand what the hell is actually going on. Sorry, I ran my mouth too long. The Robo Doll became I was just watching the old school RoboCop. You know, when they were talking, oh, we can save the arm. No, get rid of it. And then they put the robotic arm up. And that goes into I don't know, you know what? Should I just show it on this one, Chris, and take our chances? Copyright's not the same as the regular.
No. Let's keep this one.
I mean, it's a video that's okay. I'll save the video for later.
Yeah,
I'll save the video for later.
We're already watching and waiting.
I mean, yeah, already, yeah. How I know that they literally watch and wait is because I could have put this show up a week ago, and literally, if I check on there's one person waiting on it. Who the hell is out there waiting for a whole entire week, not switching to anything else to just watch this one program? All right, and you see it with a handful of channels that they do that to. So I said, from a group of people that participated in genocide and slavery, I'm not surprised. Exactly. That's how we got, and that's the reason why I wanted to go into, you know, that's what we'll do. We'll go into, oh, and I'm all over the place. My apologies for being all over the place, but I got the councilwoman in the back of my head, and then we still got the little Zelensky guy. Or as Steve calls him, Koki the Smurf. But yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll go into a little Ukraine stuff.
Well, Marcus, it's official. I'm becoming Ukrainian. Yo,
I mean,
I'm dead ass too, dog. I'm Ukrainian, and I'm like one of the lost children of Zelensky, and you know, I need a check. I mean, I ain't gonna lie.
Yo, you heard about what his wife did, right?
What she do? Buy a whole bunch of diamonds or jewelry, or
she might as well have. That she went on a shopping spree, I think, in Canada and spent like $40,000.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yes, like 40,000. No, that's one time out. Your country is at war right now, and you go on a $40,000 shopping spree.
Correct. And he can't buy himself any gear because he wear the same uniform every day.
This motherfucker is a cosplayer. He is cosplaying.
I know that.
That dude, he wants no parts of the smoke. He will trust me. Even if it's one-on-one with like an 8-year-old Russian with a knife, he don't want to pick up a gun to defend himself there. I see all kinds of levels of bitch oozing out of Zelensky. That's the reason why I made that little meme photo where I made him the stripper who's down there twerking for money from Biden. That's what he's doing.
You know, he's an actor, and he's earning the Oscar that Sean Penn gave him a couple weeks ago. I know the award season is coming up in the next couple of months. You know,
he got an award already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sean Penn jumped out the gate early and was like, you know, this is the pre-recorded part, and they gave him his award, you know, before the award show because he was a little busy that night.
Traded no, Yipper, I'm not drunk. This is all coffee and probably lack of sleep. But I got a hell of a video that I'm editing right now. Well, I'm editing a New Year video. And I don't know, y'all should, somebody was asking about something about Christmas. Oh, that's who it was on Rockfin. Ian had said something about, Manly P. Hall and going into the return of Santa Claus, or Satan Claus as I call him. Check out that video over there on Hebrew Apologetics. In fact, I'll bring it up that way you guys can see I'll try to put the link in the chat over here on Rockfin. Actually, I'll do it on both. And I want to welcome Uma in. I see Hemp Car is in the building also. Let's see. Starts as a Trojan horse, like a brain computer interface. Oh, what is this? Let me put this up here and save that so I can read that clip in a minute. This might, yeah, I'm gonna add that for later on though. Cynthia McKinney said K26R people, her doctor friends call them over, one's immune to. Interesting. Yeah, getting caught up on some of these. I think McKinney said blank people, tiny. Chris calls them tiny hats, are immune to COVID on AM Wake Up. Oh, that's what I forgot to put in the headlines. We got to talk about that too, but we'll save that for the Rockfin side. We got to talk to, as Kanye calls them, netting. We got to talk about netting a little bit. Yes, Hemp Car, the water power car. On that episode, we disclosed how one of the security guard, the first person who was killed at the top shooting, had been working on a water powered car, and he had one that was operational. So that's where that is. Let's see. I haven't gotten Uma's comments in a while. Let me get one of these translated on the screen.
Right, here it is.
Let's see, translator.
Roz, I posted the link to Hebrew apologetics into the chat.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I got you, bro. And that Jameson shit sound all right. I would try it at least once.
Jameson, what? What you talking about?
No, she said herbal honey, lavender tea, peach tea with honey, lemon, and a shot of Jameson.
That does sound good. Let's see. Uma says, but about the artificial uterus, there must be some problems that cause you to fall by yourself. Even the issue of orphans can't be solved, and there will be cost and resources be taken to raise. Yeah, I completely believe that this has nothing to do with the average person. This is something that they try to market for the average person. Well, market for the average person, but this is only about serving the needs of the ultra rich. This is something they knew that they couldn't tell all of them, so they'll put this out, and when those wealthy people reach out to the right people, then they'll let them know about that secret lab, whatever. And you know what? Something that was weird about it, I was like, is this dude's real name? Because I can't remember his last name, but you know what his name was, Chris?
Who?
The so-called creator of this, or the guy who's trying to create it, the Exo Life Labs. His first name is Hashem.
No comment.
I was like, now granted, they spelled it differently, but still, his name is Hashem.
The pronunciation is enough.
Well, here's something else that I thought. I'm wondering if Black Panther. Did you see Black Panther, the new one?
I saw that corny shit.
I'll talk to you off camera. Why? What you might have been missing is some stuff you were missing. But you want to know something interesting about the guy who played Namor?
Wait, say it one more time.
The interesting part about the guy that played Namor.
Oh yeah, what about him? I can't remember his name, but yeah, I know.
That's the key part. You know what his first name is? Granted, it's spelled differently, but his name is Tanakh. What a weird coincidence that his name would be Tanakh.
Tanakh.
Now it's spelled Tenoch, but there's also another Tanakh, Tan, H. What is it? Nahk. I don't know. It's just a little coincidental. I'll leave it at that. Isn't he I figured, not sure. Yeah, Yipper, he is Aztec. Proud Aztec. Got a lot of respect for him. His name's Tanakh Huerta. So
yeah, Tanakh Huerta. Yeah.
So let's see. So let's play a little bit of this. For those who don't watch Redacted, man, y'all need to be paying attention to what Redacted be talking about over there. Now, granted, sometimes it's stuff that you will hear plenty of other people say, but because they're big enough, it's like the algorithm don't really go at them. I don't want to say the algorithm, the censors don't go after them because they know if they try to censor them, it would only get the information out stronger. So it's kind of like with Jimmy Dore. Yeah, you might hear plenty of stuff that Jimmy might say on plenty of other channels, but when a channel gets to a certain level, it causes them more problems if they hit them with strikes or censor them. So they try to hope that these people will just kind of say stuff and nobody will take it to heart. So, I mean, a lot of shout out to Redacted. But here, check this out.
California have created energy with nuclear fusion.
Oh, wait a minute.
This is not a
That's not the one. Hold on. That's not the one I want. It's the other one. Oh, see, I thought I was playing about the nuclear fusion stuff. Here's the one. The Zelensky. Oh.
Marcus, what's up?
What's up?
No, I was just wondering because it got quiet real quick.
Hold on. Isn't it not playing?
I don't hear it. Does anybody else hear it?
Hold on. Oh, that's why.
nuclear
My fault. My fault. My fault. My fault. I didn't realize I had the wrong one shared. I'm playing it. I'm like, I'm like, nobody hears it. Like, nobody was hearing it. It's my fault. Hold on a second. Let me put the other one on the screen. My fault. This is the one. I was wondering why the screen wasn't moving or anything. I'm like, okay, that's weird. But here it is.
Let's dive into our top story. This is the greatest example. I mean, we are watching the greatest example of propaganda, I think, in world history. You know, I'm a student of history, and going back, I'm thinking, can I think of a better example, a bolder example, a more brash example of propaganda in any historical event? And I can't think of it. And I think overwhelmingly, there will be a media analysis done of this war at some point by somebody, and we will know that this by far eclipses every other war, every other man event that includes propaganda in world history. And the greatest actor on that stage is Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky made good on his promise to demand more United States aid during his trip to Washington yesterday. We picked him up in an Air Force private jet from Europe in style, fully catered. We took care of it, right out of our budget. Upon arrival, we sent a limousine to the airport to take this amazing actor to meet with the President of the United States. And then he did not disappoint. Upon his arrival, he received a standing ovation like he was going to the Academy Awards for his amazing acting skills that helped destabilize Europe, destroy Europe's energy system, drive the American dollar and economy off a cliff. Here was that moment and that standing ovation. Here he comes. There he is. It's just, it's almost like watching a State of the Union address. Like we're waiting for the president to come down the aisle for the State of the Union. Let's everyone clap. Oh, everyone wants to touch him too.
Yes.
Everyone wants to touch him. And who's that? Everyone wants to touch him and you get their hands on him.
Wait, who was that thing? What was that thing?
You called her a thing. I can't remember her name. I know you're talking about
what
the one with
was
the
that?
purple. The one with the purple hair.
That looked like a Babadook. You ever seen the movie Babadook?
No.
I didn't know Babadook came out during the day and shit.
I gotta look up who is Babadook.
It's a scary movie.
Wow. Babadook.
Babadook.
Babadook. Okay, all right. Babadook. There it is. You're evil. You're evil. I can't remember the lady's name, but yeah.
No, I was.
I know who you're talking about. Let me back up.
Yeah. If you back it up just a few seconds,
she's the one who like shook his hand, or like touched him on his back.
There he is. It's just it's
coming.
almost like watching a State of the Union address. Like we're waiting for the president to come down the aisle for the State of the Union. Let's everyone clap. Oh, everyone wants to touch him too.
Yes.
Everyone wants to touch.
Right there.
Oh, I knew who you were talking about. I knew who you were talking about exactly.
Yeah. What is that?
Because she always got like some purple hair or blue hair or some weird stuff going on. Can anybody in the chat tell us this congresswoman's name? Oh man.
Yo.
Oh wow. Bull said, is that Keith Richards?
No, I don't know what that is, kid. I have no idea. Hey, Uma, what's up? Uma's over here in Rockfin. Just wanted to say what's up to Uma.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, he went off on Biden and Harris for being Marxist. I missed something there, apparently. This guy is from Fox News. He interviewed Lee Camp once, then stole his show title and blew up overnight. Well, actually, I didn't even think about that. Well, he blew up. That is a good point. He I forgot Lee Camp did have, his show was called Redacted Tonight.
Yo, if we could zoom in, I want to see her ID. That shit says death. Yo,
Linnea, that's a good catch. I didn't even think about the fact that, yeah, they did basically. Now, yeah, I mean, he might have been, Redacted's been around a couple of years, but part of why they I know that they, wow, Krampus. One thing I do know is they are very high profile, both of them. He used to be part of Fox News, and his wife did a bunch of print media, and she did a couple of shows. I know she was on Univision for a little bit also.
Oh, Marcus.
Yeah.
How come you don't know who that is? Ain't your aunt standing right next to her? Shots fired on Christmas Eve.
There you go. See, there you go.
We're supposed to be cool. I know that was bad.
Well, yours is waiting to shake her hand next. And down there with the big hat. You know what I'm talking about with her big ass hats.
I know
it. Man. See her?
Who's that?
See? Hey. No, that's your other aunt right there.
That's Sheila Jackson.
That's your other aunt. We're the one with the big ass hat.
To touch him and you get their hands on him. I want to see the man in the.
They probably told her to stay in the back.
Sweatshirt. Yeah. It really is an amazing moment. I mean, and he did not disappoint, because then he turned an amazing.
And this dude is going to Congress. You couldn't have put a suit on at all. You're not about to go to the war front for real. I mean,
amazing performance where he
I want to
admitted
get
that
to
Ukraine
him talking.
has beat Russia. Listen.
Yeah, there we go.
And it gives me good reason to share with you our first joint victory. We defeated Russia in the battle for minds of the world.
And it was very nice.
In the minds of the war, near to push button. Give me
No,
money.
I think that line.
I can't take these guys serious. I mean, this whole Zelensky stuff. Oh, gosh. All right, I'll skip ahead a little.
Zelensky
here's the other part.
Well, take a listen.
Are similar to the other tyranny, which is in the battle of the Bulge. through everything it had against the free world, just like the brave American soldiers which held their lines and fought back Hitler's forces during the Christmas of 1944. Brave Ukrainian soldiers are doing the same to Putin's forces this Christmas.
I'm gonna say this, and Chris did not. Chris is. I'm not holding Chris to my comments here, but does every time a Jewish person is dealing with something, do they have to always invoke Hitler? Every time. Does Hitler always have to be invoked all the time?
World War II is the only conflict that has ever happened in the entirety of human history. There has never been wars. There have never been conflicts. There's never been proxies. No, nothing. It's only World War II. And only that particular group was affected. No other people were killed.
I'm like, we always got to go back to this World War II, World War II, World War II, World War II. Everything is World War II and Hitler. Like, I mean, I don't know who's all watching that probably missed it when I've said it before, but if you take first, let BB address Congress. Now this actor, yeah, your government is a farce at best. Definitely.
You got it, Warren. Facts.
I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that in this country, let's not focus on what was done to the Native Americans. No, let's not focus on Mexican repatriation acts. Let's not focus on what we did to Cubanos that have forced them to have to try to make their way to the States. Let's not focus on slavery or Jim Crow or redlining or any of that stuff. Everything is about World War II and the Holocaust. Everything has to always go back to that event. I don't know. It just gets under my skin. That
no, and then hold on. Well, let's stay right there because then this ties right into the Whoopi Goldberg comments. We could get right back into the Zelensky thing, but she just basically said Jewish is not a race, etc., etc. So they're mad at her about that. That's essentially.
But here's the thing.
But then they brought up World War II.
But here's the thing. Technically, I don't know. It all depends on who's saying what, because according to I can't speak for what the Talmud says. Well, no, actually, in this case, I actually can speak for what the Talmud says, and the Tanakh, and the Torah, and what the Bible says. The Bible says it is a race. It is emphatically, it's a race. It is a group of people. It is a nation. It descends. It's not like just any random people all got together and now we're X. It's not a basketball team. You don't just get drafted on it or pay some dues fees and now you're on the team. It is a race. Now, maybe that can be where some of the hiccup is coming in, because I'll hear people all the time when Kanye was or Ye was talking about Jewish people in Hollywood. I'll hear Jewish people push back. Why are you attacking people? Why are you attacking Judaism? Per yourselves, per many Jewish people will tell you that most Jewish people are secular and don't practice. So you can't in one breath say, oh, well, it's about if you're Jewish and you practice Judaism. And in the next breath, scream anti-Semitism for Jewish people who are not. You can't play the back and forth both games. It is, and you can look into everything about it in the Bible. It descends from a family, a patriarch. It is a race, a nation of people. Now, whatever people want to represent it as now is a different story. But if you know anything about but Whoopi Goldberg's a fucking idiot. She's where she is for a reason. I'll just say that. I see Mary's in the building. What's up, Mary? Sorry, I'm way behind on my chat over here. Thomas says, I don't want to bring up Custer or Andrew Jackson. being of Lakota and Choctaw ancestry when I want something or get into an argument. Zelensky is a whiny crybaby. I would say that about a lot of different. See, y'all about to get me in trouble. I mean, I don't know. I guess it does get under my skin that you have what, roughly 100 million people in this country alone that are living, that are going through stuff to this day by what this nation did. And yet more focus is being put on about 1 million people who they dealt with an atrocity from Germany. So you guys care more about what happened with these people's atrocity that happened in Germany than the atrocities on the over 100 million people who are living here. I mean, it's the wildest thing. It's like watching somebody who beats their wife, and then when the neighbor comes over, the neighbor's wife, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for what's going on with you. What about what the heck you doing here at home?" I don't know. Sorry. It gets so much under my skin, and I try to keep it calm. You know what? We're done with the Zelensky. I want to get on to the other topic that is in the back of my mind, this councilwoman now. Because this goes to some of the people in leftist circles who put everything off on class and act like there's no race element still going on. Like we live in a post-racist society and race does not affect anybody. I mean, I'm so tired of people who think like that and put out that thing, especially when you're white and you don't experience it. You can't tell me what's not happening when you don't experience it at all. So let me put this up here. I'm sorry, Chris, getting fiery. Trying to stay calm. Trying to be like Kit Ramsey from Bowfinger. I'm trying to KIT, keep it together. We're going ahead.
Regarding like Zelensky in Ukraine, basically what we're watching is, a money laundering operation right in front of our face. You know what I'm saying? And it's billions and billions and billions of dollars. And, at the end of the day, there's nothing we could do about it. We could just watch.
Yipper is great. He says, we have a black Asian VP. It's over. Exactly. Remember when Mitch McConnell said that Obama became president, so black people got Obama. That's your reparations. Yeah, Travius, I'm wondering that too. I did not know that what was it, Custer and Jackson claimed some kind of Native American ancestry. I think that they're more than likely what they call $5 Indians. I mean, I think that they probably, literally paid their way on the roster. I mean, and Thomas, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I'm correct here. That during the time of when a lot of the Cherokees were completely massacred out, they literally had a registration where white settlers could pay $5 to claim to the Cherokee tribe in particular, but a couple of other tribes, and then start claiming literal Native American land to start claiming rights and privileges which go to Native Americans. So I have a little bit of problem with colonizers and how they always they'll sit there and genocide a whole people, then cheat them out to get their names in the rosters, and then act like they're the oppressed people also, when their damn ancestors did the oppressing. I don't know. Isn't it Bush a cousin of Obama? Bush is related to Cheney.
Supposedly.
No, he is related to Cheney. For a fact. I remember some elementary girl she went through and she chalked all of the relations to all of these different people. And I think it was Cheney is like a second cousin, and Bush might be like a fifth, or he's a little further down the line. Yeah, Thomas says the Cherokee did adopt many surviving natives of extinct tribes and Mexicans, but the BIA,
the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Okay, who was in charge of enrollment, did slip in hundreds of $5. That's what I thought. Yeah, I know that there were plenty of tribes which took in runaway slaves, that took in other native tribes which were almost completely eviscerated. I do know that you did have some who had slaves, and then after freeing them and paying reparations to some, not all, but some paid reparations, and then they adopted some of those freed slaves into their tribes also. So I do know that all of that happened, but I'm like, I do know that there was a lot of $5 Indians that popped up, and we don't talk about them anymore. So A. Ross says, Marcus, doesn't that description sound a lot like people who would convert to a religion, then pretend? You know where I'm going. You know exactly where I'm going. That's the reason why people play these slippery games. That's why people play these slippery games.
She was on point with that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's definitely on point. And especially, man, there's so much I want to go into right now. You can get me off into a whole nother subject. And I know we have a bunch of secular people who watch our channel, and so they don't want to hear all that, but definitely come over to, well, actually, truth is truth, and that's what I'm all about. I don't care where the truth leads me, that's where I'm going. Like I told people, when I became a Hebrew Israelite, it wasn't because I just decided something one day and then tried to find evidence. You can ask Chris. I tried to debunk some of this stuff. That was my goal. Like, well, I mean, okay, yeah, that sounds like, but I don't know about all this other stuff here. Then when I started not having an answer for these things I was trying to debunk, I started actually listening to the information and digging deeper. And that's where I've come to the conclusion. Now, people can say that I might have come to some wrong conclusions on some things. That's perfectly fine. But trust me, it's not because of trying to fabricate or have an agenda. It's a book by Friedman. Oh yeah, I got so many books. Man, I'm telling you, make sure y'all come over to Hebrew Apologetics. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, let's bring this sister up, because it really bothers me when people try to, like for instance, you go back to FDR. FDR had some good policies that he was working on, but there's two major focuses that I want people to think about. For one, he didn't do it. FDR wasn't doing this out of goodness of his heart. FDR did these things because if he didn't do something, you would have had the whole capitalist structure completely fall on its face. So he had to give out a whole bunch of stuff to even prop up the system that they have. So it was a last-ditch effort. Two, if you were black or brown, you were excluded from the privileges and these benefits that went into FDR's New Deal. That's one thing that we do not factor in and talk about enough. The thing which helped black and brown people the most in this country during that time period would have been the GI Bill. And they had to go through a whole lot of shit anyway, going into the military and the treatment that was going on just to get that. That going to school and being able to go to college, and when you had schools like Tuskegee, and you had schools, some of the older HBCUs, that is what helped build wealth in the black community. And that's what put a lot of black people into some of these higher paying jobs. Of course, I'm talking about from the 40s on. I'm not talking about after, from the early or the late 1800s, like 1890s, up until like the 1930s, when they were going through and systematically destroying all of these black towns. And when I say black towns, because of black people had it bad here in this country, and brown people had it bad in this country, they allowed, and there was more cohesion and partnerships, and they allowed for it was perfectly fine for, you know, a Mexican man to build up a business in these communities and work together. It was perfectly fine for a Native American man to come in and do business with these companies. I mean, these small areas. But it was the power structure in these states that had a problem with it, that would fabricate reasons to go in and systematically destroy these towns. And it always happened over two things: some kind of rumor of something that a black or a brown person did, or they were trying, or something to do with voting. It all went back to these two things, which, what do you see going on today? What do most of these, especially white Republicans, get the most up in arm about? Blacks are illegals voting. That's what they're concerned about. I mean, so the more things change, the more they stay the same. And so for anybody who tries to play this, oh, it's just a class struggle thing, it's a lot you don't get. It's a lot you don't get or understand. See, can we discuss the new normal 48 states freezing on YouTube? I mean, I hope we can. I know another thing that I want to throw out there, this year alone, I think there's been something like 120 to 130 power outages. I mean, like grid outages. That's something that people need to focus on. And especially with these extremely freezing temperatures and blizzards, prepare for outages. Let's see. If you mean Afro-Indigenous people, none have lawsuits. The tribal freedmen have lawsuits against the Choctaw and Chickasaw to be citizens. There are 20,000 Afro-Indigenous people in our 5 tribes. Well, yeah, a lot of people focus mainly on the 5 tribes, but you got to remember there were a lot more than 5 tribes, and a lot of people focus on slavery when they talk about those 5 tribes, not realizing that every single tribe didn't do it. I mean, there were plenty of tribes that did. Have you streamed about the coming famine yet? Not yet. I'm gonna wait. That's stuff that I'm getting all my research together for next year, but that is definitely coming. Definitely coming. Yeah, I appreciate Thomas when he's in here. Wealth of information. We can always count on him to add.
Oh yeah, Thomas, my guy, man.
Yeah.
Thomas, cool as hell.
Always count on him to add to the discussion and help us out with some things which I believe I know, but not 1,000% certain on. Some stuff I do know, some stuff I do lean on you guys out in the audience to help me out with. When Ned Cannon says, I'm cracking up thinking about people in warm states freaking out. Yeah. Is it me, or is prophecy being fulfilled? I've been streets. You already know what I'm gonna say. You know what I've been saying, and I just keep telling people. And what's gonna happen? I'm gonna say this for the last time. I won't keep going on and on, but when stuff get bad enough, then at that point, maybe some of y'all will be more willing to listen to the things that I've been saying and trying to prepare y'all for. And when that happens, I'm still going to be there to answer any question that I can possibly answer. But just remember, I'm trying to warn everybody about stuff that I see on the horizon that's coming. I don't know, Chris, you got anything to add? I've been running my mouth a lot.
No, man, just go ahead. You know, I agree with the comments in that, you know, there are things happening like right before our eyes. Some of it is manipulation meant to get us to think certain things, though. Other things really are happening. It's you have to really, really pay attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So let's find that clip that I keep talking about. I don't know why they he says never, Marcus, never. La 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 la. Yes, I understand. Cyclical destruction, good term. But this sister, she just had enough, I guess, and she starts off a little calm, trying to let everybody know what's kind of on her mind, and then it kind of goes in, and I'm gonna add a couple of comments after this, so I'll let this play, and then I'll get back to you guys.
Braden, a white woman, has it that now that this body, because counselors, for example, all the white counselors here stick together, that they will vote or try to move the districts in a way that is not diverse sufficiently to be able to vote in electives of color. We have fought for a very long time. It is 2022.
Marcus, pause it real quick.
Forth about allegations, but here people are.
Yeah.
So people are surprised that the Alabama of the North did something racist. Oh, okay, that was it. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't think that she's surprised, but it's like, you know how a lot of times that many people won't want to speak out on things. Like, perfect example. How many people seen that movie Hand That Rocks the Cradle?
Oh man, I used to watch that movie all the time.
all right. So you already know. Remember how the wife was like, "Man, I feel like he kind of did. I feel like he kind of touched me in wrong ways. That wasn't right." Yipper, you slacking then. You need to go see that movie. I mean, definitely need to see it. The wife was like,
the whole movie was that from like 87, 88?
I mean, wasn't that long ago? I think it might have hit 90s. It might have been.
Oh, the Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Okay, yeah, that's probably like 90.
Oh, shoot. Sabby Sabs is in the building. Much love, Sabby Sabs. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen this clip, Sabby. This is somebody in your neck of the woods, and she talking about
I lived in Boston too, like years ago. You know what I'm saying? My homeboy was going to Northeastern, so I spent a lot of time up there. But yeah, there's definitely issues in Massachusetts. And then if you go back, if you follow the Celtics and you go back and you look at even, you know, I mean, granted, it's Bill Russell, we're talking the 60s and shit like that. But this guy was winning championships and they were shitting on him in the city of Boston. Crazy.
Well, still to this day, NBA players rate Boston is one of the cities that it still unnerves them going there because they can still count on in 2022 to face racist comments. I mean,
yeah, a lot of the guys in NBA say that they hear the worst shit in Boston and Utah.
Yep. Travis, he gave it to us. He said Hand That Rocks the Cradle was 92. Yeah, that's what. Where did it go? There we go. Hand That Rocks the Cradle, 1992. Sabby says a lot of covert racism, and that's the point that I was alluding to. Like that movie Hand That Rocks the Cradle, she's wondering, is this just in my head that what happened? And the husband's like, no, I'm pretty sure he did something. So let's go on ahead and let's go down there. Let's file a report and let's deal with this dude because he can't get away with this. And the wife, she's like, really like, I don't know. Maybe it could all been in my head. Well, that's what it is with us a lot of times when we deal with this racism. And I know Sabby, I remember Sabby talking about her experiences when she used to be at the college. Some of the stuff that she would go through, and like she would like, was that? And so sometimes she would have to bite her tongue on stuff because she wasn't sure. But then eventually she said, yeah, I started seeing it was what I thought it was. Yeah, microaggressions. I had a boss when I used to work at Lowe's when I was in Florida, and he told me, he said, yo, if you feel like any of your bosses are being racist, I guarantee you they are, because I've heard them talk behind closed doors. I know what they say. So even the one who's cool with
you know what?
Uh-huh.
And you know what? New York is just the same. I mean, not just the same. New York is very similar. Roz can tell you. I don't know if Roz is from there, lives there, whatever, but yeah, somebody that's born and raised in New York, I could tell you they had, you know what I'm saying, that they got their funny money ways about them too.
Yeah. Angelica here says, I still think Boston's racism is in your face than Seattle racism. Seattle racism is very passive aggressive. I know that in Kansas City, believe it or not, Kansas City school districts, they found that it's one of the most segregated school districts in the country. But it's even more segregated than in the 50s. Yeah, perfect example. I mean, Savvy says a lot of northern cities are filled with white coastal elites. Exactly. And they're not going to do it to your face. Just like if you go out into a place, Overland Park or Johnson County in Kansas City area, they're not going to be like, F you, nigger. They're not going to say that.
Correct. Yeah.
But
they know better than to be
but you're going to see women clutching up on their purses. You're going to see, security following you around. You're going to get all that feel that you do in those same types of cities. So when I deal with white leftists who think that this is it, that it's just about a class struggle, that there's no racial element to this. I mean, I just reviewed a video the other day where a guy who used to work at a bank, and the bank used to work hand in hand with a loan and mortgaging place, that they would tell them that there were plenty of white people who did not deserve to get these loans, that they would give it to them anyway because they just trusted them. Whereas in a black or brown person come in there, they're either not going to get that loan, or they are, maybe if their credit is already good enough, they're going to get that loan, but they're going to get higher interest rate, some kind of extra fees. All these different things come in. And I see Lithium 19 is in also. Says Massachusetts is NYC's farm teams. Ooh, ooh, that's not right.
Ross says he's Jamaican from Queens and lives in Queensbridge. Oh shit, there we go.
Uh-oh, you got a neighbor here.
That's my people, son, right from my hood too.
And Sabby says right here, they'll stop you from buying homes in their neighborhoods, and this is the redlining stuff that's still. It was made illegal in, I want to say, 95 or 2001, something like that, but it still happens. Hey, I see, and I'll wish it Merry Christmas back to you, but of course I don't celebrate. I know Indy's being funny. I know.
Indy's funny. Indy, what's up, man?
Mm-hmm. And I'll wish you a happy late Hanukkah. We do celebrate Hanukkah over here. And so we finished up ours. I mean, it's over. But in fact, on Hebrew Apologetics, Indy, you should check that out. I did a little bit of history on the Maccabean Revolt. So you might like that. That was pretty interesting. I was showing people where they could look, and a little bit of history about the Greeks. And for those who don't know what Hanukkah is about, Hanukkah was a major victory that the Israelites or the Judean, I prefer Judeans. The Judeans were able to, or Jews, that works too, were able to overcome the oppressive Greek authoritarians, I guess. It was the king of the time, Antiochus, and Antiochus the fourth was literally forcing Jews to not be able to keep their customs, religions, not letting them circumcise their children, forcing them to eat abominable foods, forcing them to actually sacrifice abominable foods, even into our temples and stuff. And it was just a horrible thing. And so when, you know, the Maccabees were able to overtake them and push back the Greeks, it was a great victory. Indy says, I checked that out actually. Oh, Grace. Oh, cool. Good shit. The Gelt and Dreidel thing was interesting. Yeah, I mean, we need to talk one of these times. Oh, and
Marcus, let's
the Dingo says, happy Hanukkah. Oh, well, thank you. Like, oh yeah, that's right. Let's get back into the video. Yeah, you know, I get a little excited when I get to talk to somebody about religion.
Not innocent until proven guilty. People are guilty first. People are crucified. People are lynched. Same old tricks, same masters though. And still people, now everything's changed and everybody's upset. Everybody is boiling up. People are calling me and telling me, don't say anything, stay in your lane, be quiet, sit down, you will lose your seat. They won't vote for you. Fight, don't fight. What the fuck do I have to do in this fucking council in order to get respect as a Black woman? And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not afraid of losing the votes. I'm not afraid of the seat. I'm not afraid of anybody here. This is the message that I got.
Don't forget this country is built with white people, sustained by white people. The presidents all back in the day were white. If you don't like it, why don't you take your ass back to your shithole with your stupid ass scarf on your head, you ugly fucking hoe.
This is what I get. I get about 3 or 4 of them in my office. I have 2 sons. I've made mistakes. And once I learned it, I corrected immediately because I made a stupid mistake. Because I brought people that were loyal to me. I had 6 staff. As of yesterday, I have 4. That is clear for everyone to understand. When I make a mistake, I will be clear. I don't hate you as a white woman. I don't hate you as a white man. I am sick and tired of this body so stupidly racially divided, so afraid, so depraved. People with no faith because they are afraid of they're losing their investment. They're afraid of bargaining. They're afraid of leveraging. These people have, oh my God, I can't even call you cowards because desperation does.
Yeah, and it stopped abruptly like that. I don't know why it did. But what it says, where did it go? A. Ross asked, what did it say? Dang it, why come I can't
No,
find
but
it?
the issue
It says,
is
racism in Boston being exposed by City Council member Tania Fernandez Anderson.
You know what the issue is going to be? That she cursed in chambers. She didn't show decorum. You know,
and I've heard people bring up that's what they were going to point on.
We're not, you know, this is what they're great at. We're not against what you stand for and what you say, but it's like how you say it and the things you say. Oh my God, like you didn't have to use the F-bomb there. You know, there's probably children who are watching this, and you know they're going to be so offended. You know, you got to think about the kids. That's how they're going to talk about it. Yep. That's how they're going to respond to that. You know, fuck the gist and the meat of what she was saying. But let's just talk about the fact that she actually cursed. She raised her voice. She slammed her hand on the desk. You know, oh my God. Now what? We have to totally disregard everything she said. Everything.
Yep.
Now, if she comes back and says it in a nice way, then maybe we'll listen to her. But until then, you know, until she just apologizes, you know, I just can't really. I'm so offended, actually, that she would talk like this in chambers. My goodness. I mean, you can hear that bullshit.
Of course. And plenty of people did respond to her in that way. Yep. The angry Black woman trope. And it's kind of crazy to me. At the same time that this came out, I just heard about. Did you hear about the Denmark prime minister?
No, well, I don't think so.
He just came out recently and he apologized for slavery officially, and he got a lot of pushback for two ways. People were like, "Okay, so what are you going to do after that?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, we'll figure that out later." The other part is the coalition that's been trying to push him to make this apology wanted him to do this in June to commemorate when they abolished slavery there, because a lot of people there in Denmark look at it as, well, we only enslaved like 25,000 people. Well, what's not factored in is when it got past the point of the different African tribes which were rounding up the slaves, which, keep in mind, these are other tribes. These aren't their same people. This is just like if North Korea went into Vietnam. They're not the same people. They went and rounded up those people and then sold them to the Portuguese. And then eventually got to the point where the Dutch started actually going in. Well, the Dutch and the Portuguese were actually going onto the land and rounding them up also, helping meet with them. And so a lot of the ships that were sailed were Dutch sailors who were doing a lot of the transportation, whether it was slaves going to the Americas or slaves going to Europe, because people forget slaves didn't only go to the Americas. Slaves went to Europe also. Some of those slaves who went with clergy, also when they start doing these missionaries, they were taking, so yes, the Catholic Church, the popes, all these fathers, they literally had their own personal slaves too. That's not often factored in. So slaves got taken as far away as into different parts of Asia, and that happened also with the sub-Saharan slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
But all of this has not been factored in or talked about very much. So you have that happen. I remember last year, China pushed back on the United States and said, y'all need to deal with with the slavery issue. Y'all need to deal with the reparations issue. Then you had this one I will pull up. I have an article where this one surprised me. It really did surprise me. Pleasant surprise. Let's see. Click there. If I can get this to open up. Anyway, well, I guess I didn't click the article, but I can paraphrase it really quick for you guys, and everybody can look this up out there. What is it? 76 Japanese American organizations came together and are pushing for reparations, or saying that, hey, y'all need to get this council open and y'all need to reimburse the Black population for reparations. We as Japanese Americans, we got a portion of reparations, though we didn't feel like it fixed the situation or it was enough. It's a first step, and you guys need to at least try to do that or try to rectify that situation. So you had that happen. This other one I do have a video for. This just happened recently too. So it's weird. All of this stuff is kind of happening at the same time. That's why I say there's some spiritual elements going on out here that I don't think people are factoring in. But where is it? This was in Italy. Let's see, I probably should mute it. I'll mute it. I don't want it to hit me with a copyright. But this happened in Italy at a parade where they are, I'll read a little bit of it. It says, this was a float at Italy, the Via Radeggio Carnival parade, a symbolic representation of a Black woman in prison garb with chains on, shows Black people are slaves and prisoners in the country we live in. The original Statue of Liberty was originally sculpted of a Black woman. We are a nation who is enslaved to capitalism and a lot of other isms. When French gifted her, she represented equality for all, and we are far from that. And so this was a parade that was done in Italy, talking about slavery and how America needs to get their act together. So it seems like a lot of the rest of the world is trying to tell America to wake up to what the hell that they're doing. Another one, I'm not going to share this one either for time's sake, but what was it? There's been a lot of research that's came out lately about the WKKK. Many people might not have heard of this, but the WKKK was the women's Ku Klux Klan. Now, they weren't going out there throwing firebombs in the windows and doing all that. Where they had most of their impact is in organizations like Daughters of the Sons of the Confederacy, where they push for spinning the narrative of slavery in our textbooks and minimizing what happened during slavery in our textbooks, which leads to a lot of the attitudes we have, especially from people in the South, where they have a very unsympathetic view of people who are descendants of slavery. And I would say not only slavery, I would say Mexican Repatriation Act. I can't remember what they're called right now, the boarding schools for Native Americans. I would say that's what led to a lot of this lack of compassion, which you see from a lot of the southern states, and for lack of a better term, the white population in these states, because they were shielded from a lot of the reality of what was actually going on. So that's my little spiel, sir. Your thoughts?
I mean, nothing good.
No, just hey, I've jumped on my soapbox a couple of times tonight. You might as well also.
Yeah, no. That's good. We move to the next one. You know, I'll get my shit off on one of the next ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Travius. Yeah, I do believe in pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps, definitely. But at the same time, we do need to be conscious of history. What I would say, in all honesty, and I say this all the time, though all of us who are at the bottom rungs of society, all as a whole, need to be trying to pull together. There needs to be a special focus on the Black and brown community, that we can stop having an evil eye towards our brother. If a white person says some racist stuff to you, you might swing on them, maybe. But if another brother steps on your brand new shoes the wrong way, plenty of times we will kill each other over that. And we got to fix this evil eye that we have towards each other first and foremost. And this crabs in the bucket mentality needs to stop. We got to stop pulling each other down. Yes, I get it. We're all in the bucket and we're trying to get out. But we got to do more building and working with each other. And maybe we all can get out of the bucket instead of only one and leaving others behind. And that,
Marcus.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if how do I say her name?
Who?
I don't know if that's a man or a woman, but the canon person, is that
Lania?
Or is it Lania?
I
don't want to botch the name, but Marcus, when do you get your reparations check for being a California resident? Or is it direct deposit?
We are not going to get that. I'm gonna tell you, I think that there will be no Lania. Yeah, I don't think there's any reparations ever going to come. Because you want to know why I don't think there's any reparations coming? Because I believe if you talk to the random white person, many of them, if you sat there and talked to them, if they don't agree with it, could be convinced that, okay, maybe it's the right thing to do. Maybe we need to do something. Might not agree on the amounts, but majority, I believe, would agree that it needs to be done. Now, if we're talking to the people who have the power to make it happen or not happen, amongst them, it's a whole different conversation. I mean, in their mind is, you live in America, that is your reparations. Because in their mind, they believe well, where you came from was worse than this. So yeah, you're already doing better. Not realizing that there, besides Egypt, which for intensive for conversation's sake, right now, I won't go into, you know, the deep, rich, dark Africans that were there in history of it. We'll let everybody say that they were the more fairer skinned Arab people that were there the whole entire time. Fine, for sake of argument, we'll leave it there. But there are like 12 different other African empires, Congo being one of them, Timbuktu, Benin, Mali, Songhai, Kush, with Ethiopians and stuff. There were a lot of them that are never even talked about. And so this thinking that all African people or all people who have some descendancy from Africa were just out playing in the dirt somewhere with little sticks and eating raw meat. This caricature that has been built up of us is extremely unjust. But sorry, go ahead.
But damn, I had something to say about reparations. I was going to ask. God damn it. To the extent that the state of California is considering giving reparations to the descendants of slaves in the state, what strings come with that? I want to know that. Is it going to be like food stamps where you can't buy hot food? Right?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what it's going to be. I already know what it's going to be.
If y'all hear the noise in the background, they letting off fireworks and shots, I think, outside.
Yeah, they like, Santa, fly over my house, bitch. That's what they doing. Santa out there ducking shots right now. But I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. California is already extremely expensive to live in. What would happen is they are just going to send everything through the roof as far as costs. And so every damn bill collector that people have out here, maybe put some kind of law so that all these bill collectors can come after you, or people who you might have had this bill with the hospital that, hey, you got away with it and you didn't pay it. Now they're going to throw, well, it was 10 years ago and you never paid that $200 bill. Well, all the interest is going to make that $4,000. You get what I'm saying? And in every different way, they're going to nickel and dime that money right back and be like, see, hands are clean. Don't ask us for nothing else, black people. That's what I believe would happen. You would see housing prices go through the roof.
Oh, yo, Rod's trying to get Marcus to go in.
I have a question you probably can't answer. The Old Testament literally says Nas are from Gomer, son of Japheth, so they get away. See, well, but here's another thing. If you look back to the original Japhetic people, they were melanated also. So I'll just say that. I heard somebody, though, he said it in a way I would never ask this question. But young Pharaoh, he's something special. He was just like, I want to know. He was like, well, white people, I want to know where y'all came from. I just want to know where y'all came from because it seems like y'all are not humans. I was like, oh. I don't know if y'all ever seen that debate. Young Pharaoh does. He has a debate with a rabbi, and he just goes, "What?" The boy is touched. I'll say that. I mean, now I do believe because this is. I'm trying to figure the best way to walk through this landmine here. As a Hebrew Israelite, I don't believe it's necessarily on phenotype. It does say that the Israelites will be dispersed in all nations. And so the fact that the Israelites will be dispersed into all nations, that would mean all people are going to be dispersed into all nations. So I believe that how do you tell the difference between who is Hamitic and Shemitic, who is Japhetic? Because you had a lot of mixing and people moving around, especially if you go by the Bible's interpretation of what you are. The Bible goes by your father. So whoever your father is and your father's father's father, that's who you are. And so you can phenotypically look like whoever. Goes back to whoever your father is.
So Marcus, I see the homeless situation in California is out of control. Are they doing reparations now so that they could send out them checks and they could get returned to sender because there's no address? Is that
Oh, you better believe they're gonna do that to a lot of them. And then they'll probably put in, if you are currently incarcerated, you can't collect it either.
Or if you're indigent, or if you've got X amount of charges against you, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I don't know. I'm just waiting to see how this thing plays out. You know my comments and feelings for reparation is that
give you.
I don't think it's wise or I don't think it's wise or noble to be begging your enemy for money like that.
Thomas said, would there be an explosion of $5 black Africans in California reparations are paid?
Damn,
I mean,
Thomas.
damn. I mean,
man down, Thomas.
This is honestly what I think will happen. And this is a sensitive subject, so I'll be careful how I say it. Trust me, I'm not trying to offend anybody out there. What they did with the Native Americans, they literally found the parts of the country which they decided that they didn't want, and then said, here, this will be your land. You could do whatever you want here. And then what did they do? When they decided that there was oil that they wanted, they would make them leave. Whenever they decided, we want to run a pipeline through here, you don't have a say-so to stop that. And then what they said was, oh, well, yeah, you can have gambling on your reservation. But what they would do is they would put in so many stopgaps and make it so hard for them to be able to do it that they would have to deal with some kind of investor would come in and basically still appropriate most of that money that was going to a lot of those tribes. And therefore, in terms giving them some form of reparations, but not giving it to them. You get what I'm saying? So still keeping them in an unrepaired state, but on paper saying you gave them reparations. So, I mean, because if they truly gave Native Americans reparations, the levels of poverty wouldn't be going on that are going on there. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but above brown people, when I'm saying brown, I'm talking about non-Native American. Well, technically in my mind, it just depends on the border, but border and colonization. Native Americans were just the ones who weren't completely colonized. Yeah. The Native Americans were the ones who just held on to an amount of their culture without being fully colonized, like most of the people south of the border. But if you look at statistically, I don't know if y'all know this, but statistically, Native Americans lead all the bad categories. Poverty, incarceration rates. All of that. I don't think people realize that because the population is so small. But per capita, trust me, black people, they got it rough. They're per capita, they're doing worse than we are. And brown people, yes, they're doing worse. So don't look at it like, well, they got reparations and land. No, they still got screwed over. Correct. Don't think that they got something special, that they got a leg up over you. They did not.
Correct.
So that's what I wanted to, say that little part.
That should be funny. They start giving out reparations, and we see a return of blackface in California. That shit would be funny.
I saw this too. I saw that shit. I saw that. That shit was so funny. Chris, do you watch Go Black to Africa?
A couple of times. I haven't in a while.
You need to watch. He been on fire lately. Like I'm talking about NBA Jam. I'm telling you, NBA Jam back in the day, Reggie Miller on fire. He been putting out some stuff lately. But yeah, that was, I laughed my ass off. I was like, I don't really, dang, I wasn't gonna go that far with it. This dude believing that white people are like literally aliens. No, he's a white dude saying yes, we're not from this planet. Yeah, that was some of the wildest shit that I heard. And then I've heard people say that, oh well, white people actually, because of all this Neanderthal DNA, that they're not actually completely humans. I'm like, people, stop it. Y'all just getting too bugged out with it. Y'all even got, on that topic, y'all have Hebrew Israelites all sounding a lot more sane. And I'm not, well, I'm not saying all Hebrew Israelites are insane. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we are.
No, but for real.
But some, because they do such a piss poor job in laying things out, and because there's so much anger and rage, they don't lay out the conversation in a fruitful manner many times. That's my, I guess, diplomatic way of salvaging some of my brothers who just scream at every person who walks by. I mean, it's kind of funny that, God, dang, I see y'all got me back into this topic, but it's seven nations in the Bible that Israelites are not supposed to mess with at all. That is a complete sin to mess with. And all 7 are Hamites. But they spend their time focusing on everybody else who they know are not Hamites. So it's like, I'm like, you do realize that y'all letting some of the enemy right in the back door because you ain't really sourcing through who the hell's who, because you just looking at skin tones. But I digress.
So, yo, speaking, what's your man getting Netanyahu say?
Yeah, oh, that's right. I gotta pull that one up. I gotta pull up that one.
What did he say? Because anytime he
actually, hold on. Well, this is what we'll do. I'll do that last clip that I have from about the nuclear fission. And then we got to take it to Rockfin for like the next 30, 45 to get out those last couple of topics. Because
correct it, Roz.
I can't speak. I can't say what I really want to say on YouTube. Native populations in the islands were mostly decimated, and they have a history of being enslaved by the Spanish and Portuguese. Exactly. A lot of people don't realize,
especially initially.
Well,
but then,
after 1441, you had 10 slaves taken out of West Africa to Portugal. Around that same time, well, a little bit before that, you had an expelling of a bunch of people, certain people, into North Africa. Right
and
after
they weren't
that,
native. And those, real quick, Marcus, it's important to make that distinction that just because that those people you mentioned who relocated to that section of Africa, keep in mind they relocated. They weren't native to that part per se. That means the people who were there didn't have any problem shitting on them.
Well, it's the same as the Mexican Repatriation Act. If you looked Mexican to them, they just threw you down there. So there were plenty of people, there were plenty of natives who were just living in cities who got thrown down to Mexico, and now you're a Mexican. They weren't. I mean, this is something that, like, with the slave trade, a lot of people don't factor in. They moved people everywhere. They took people out of Canada and then put them into Mexico. They took people out of Mexico and then shipped them to Spain. They took some of the people from certain parts of, like, what would be parts of the Bahamas or Cuba or so-called Hispaniola, and they took them to Denmark, or they shipped people all over the place. I mean, and then even taking some people that were in the Americas and putting them over into North Africa too. So it was a lot. Yeah, you got it. Sephardic. You know what I was talking about. But the slave trade is so complex. I don't think most people can even fathom it. I mean, and a lot of Black people like to focus on 400 years. This has been going on since the 1400s. 1441 is when Prince Henry of Portugal first instituted this. And every nation in Europe was a party to it. So this dealt with all of Europe for the most part. I mean, Russia had very little to do with it. All of the northern part of Africa. I'm talking about all the way from what would be modern day Palestine all the way over to West Africa. Then we're talking about all the way from the bottom of Chile all the way up to the top of Canada. It literally went into all of these lands. And then eventually some of the people who were fleeing even from South Africa were displaced from West Africa into South Africa. So it gets complicated. I have not seen the Woman King, but I definitely will. I do recommend everybody watch the Black Panther and then tell me your thoughts on it.
You didn't see the Woman King?
No.
Okay. It was pretty good.
I like Black Panther too, and I'll explain to you, off camera why. You got to remember what I believe: Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom. That's what I'm seeing. What was Killmonger's aim?
Was it Eric? Was it? I don't remember.
But what was his goals?
Oh, well, yeah, we know.
Now, what was Namor's goal?
Oh, the same shit.
Exactly. And so,
yeah. But it's funny.
Hopefully this is not too much of a spoiler. If anybody hasn't seen it and feels like this might be a spoiler, count to 10, okay? Just turn the volume all the way down. I'll give you 3 seconds, and then I'm gonna say it. 1, 2,
my driver
3.
just went off. I know you heard
that. When he's like, yeah, but now we gained an ally. And when they start messing with him again, they'll come back with us. The prophetic side of that's what I'm seeing. All right, so anybody okay, now you can come back in and listen. I saw the Will Smith one. I definitely recommend. I think they probably should have got somebody else better to play it, but I mean, it's a historical story that needed to be told.
The Woman King is good. Just like Black Panther 2 is okay. Look, I'm low key a nerd about that stuff, and let's talk about.
I know you thought of comic books. You weren't paying attention to other messages that might be being put in.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, I saw the other ones, but I'm just like, still, it could have been executed a little bit better as far as I was concerned. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, come on, guys.
And if Baba is in here,
and you know what's funny?
I might bring it up next week about the Atlantis stuff, but there's some interesting stuff she sent me.
But you know what's funny about all these comic books? These shit is all created by the Ashkenazis, so let's keep that in mind as well.
Oh, I know. And that's the reason. And
every single one of them.
Well, you're gonna get me in trouble. I can't talk around you. Yeah. Does say so on too. Let me. Oh, what is him car saying here? Oh, you said. Oh, Atris hopped in here. What's up, Atris? Let's see. Reparations give all America back. The Bible does say so unto others as you. 12 acres for the descendants of the slave trade. Should only First Nations people be allowed to run for office? Believe it or not, I actually wrote up a proposal that I felt like not only should native chiefs they should have to go to native chiefs to approve certain bills and all that. I felt like the Speaker of the House position and the head and the leader of the Senate's position should be given over to the tribal elders, and they should have the last say so and veto if anything is going to happen that's a law or not. I felt that's only fair. That's not even close to being fair. But the fact that you don't even let the people who really own this nation be able to have a valid say so on what happens here, that's all right. Hey, I believe in the creator, and he watching. Y'all worried about Santa writing shit down on the list. Y'all got somebody else. Y'all need to be worried about what he putting on his list. Because the difference with Santa is Santa, what is it? He supposedly puts coal in your stocking. Well, this one is talking about chopping some heads off and and burning up whole cities and you know, famines and plagues, and okay, mess around with that one and see.
Y'all see Hamza disappear. Was there another fight?
Probably. He probably watching two homeless people fight over a chicken sandwich.
Oh, but he said he was back in New York, right? Or was he in New York and went back to Arizona? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. Says sound like Santa works for the CIA, making lists and who dies. Yeah, Santa working for somebody. You flip those letters around. I don't know, that Disney show, they showed you guys something when they flipped it around and it said something else.
Which one? What Disney show?
One of the Disney shows, there was like, we can't wait to see you, Santa, or something like that. And they had the letters switched around and it said Satan.
Yes. Yes. Oops, mistake. Sorry. We were looking at them throughout, you know, in front of the camera. We just happened to hit record as it said Satan. You know, it didn't even catch me. My dyslexia that day.
Yeah, you didn't want to go and send it out and fix it or nothing, right?
Correct. Like before you hit record.
Yep. Okay. So for these last, oh wait a minute, that's right. No, I got one more. That's right. Do this one here real quick. I wanted to put that
Look, now that there's more women in the chat, I really want to ask that question again. I guess I should have waited until they filled up.
Maybe so. Do y'all remember the movie back in the 90s, Chain Reaction? Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman.
I hated that movie, but I watched it.
Well, it's a reason why they're talking about that shit. Because here we go.
Power plant. Come out. It's not a nuclear power plant that comes from a factory. It's something completely different. Here's how Financial Times describes it from the information that came out of Lawrence Livermore Labs. So it's like this little chamber. Inside the chamber is a fuel capsule, and inside there is a layer of deuterium tritium fuel. And then basically they shoot up to 192 laser beams. Freaking laser beams. I had to. And they heat it, create a hot plasma and a gas stripped of electrons. And then the reaction is, the heat spreads rapidly enough through the fuel. And then this is known as ignition, which creates energy. Okay. So that is a very crude explanation of shooting lasers at a man-made little baby sun in order to create an ignition. That
she's not a scientist, but she plays one on television.
Yes, she
did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
This is a crude explanation, but you get it. It's not like new.
All right, so yeah, I just wanted to give that little explanation. This is the new thing which they're working on now. So I don't know if y'all remember that movie, but Chris, can you tell them what happened in that movie? What became the big premise about that movie and dealing with this quantum fusion?
Which movie are you talking about, Marcus?
Chain Reaction.
Oh, son, I haven't seen it in so long, I can't remember. I just know that they were trying to flood shit up, and there was a lot of water in that movie.
Well, basically, they were basically fucking up and basically about to create a bomb that was going to be worse than a nuclear bomb and blow everything up. And the power, the goal was with this this quantum fusion to be able to like the power of just this cup right here was supposed to be enough quantum fusion to be able to power like whole entire cities. And it's supposed to be a clean way to not leave a carbon footprint, to get off the electrical grids, all that stuff.
No, like I said, I remember it.
You might need to go back and rewatch it, and that's what I learned. A lot of these movies, we got to go back and check that shit out over again. A lot of this stuff, because they're hinting that shit in there. They're hinting hardcore. But yeah, I'm gonna keep paying attention to this and see what kind of more information that comes out later on. But I say keep an eye on this. All right, so
aren't they, Marcus? Aren't they charging people for living right now? I mean, besides taxes, like carbon payments. Did I see that online?
Yes, they're already doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, hey Ross, but I don't know what that means exactly, but I know humans are records as hell, and they do the worst things you've ever seen. Probably a really bad idea. Well, the gain of function research was supposed to be for figuring out how to create really bad diseases to stop them. That doesn't sound like a smart idea to me, but it seems like that these certain people take these risks. Like I remember I kept hearing, because see, I want to correct that one thing you said there. And here I'm pointing it out so you'll see. I don't know what that means exactly, but I know humans are records. Well, let's pay attention to one thing. Who has been running things for the past, what? See, how long ago since the Renaissance? The last 600 years. Who's been in power?
Me.
It hasn't just been random humans. It ain't just been random humans. It's been a certain group of humans. To save everybody time, white people. I'm not saying every white person is out there doing this, but hey, at least 1 to 10% of y'all people are coming up with this shit, and the whole world is having to deal with it. And instead of let's all share the blame, hey, white people, y'all go deal with y'all white people who doing all this shit.
Yeah, I know. One would think you would wish, but
yeah, I mean, I'd be like, yo, y'all need to quit saying us, we. Did we all decide to drop a bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki? No. Did all people decide to have a Holocaust? No. Think about it. World War I.
Marcus and Red asked, Debo asked Red, Pops, you want some of this too, old man? No.
Yeah, we ain't been the ones that wanted to do none of this shit. We ain't the ones that want to do this. Think about it. In most other countries, they have a war between the people who are around them. They deal with the people who are in their neck of the woods. Mm-hmm. What group of people are the ones who said, you know what? Let me get on a ship and travel 2,000 miles away and fuck with the people over there. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody else doing that shit. Native Americans had their beefs with other Native American tribes. Mm-hmm. Tribes in Africa had their beefs with other African tribes. People in Asia had their beef with other people in Asia. Europeans are the only ones that decide, let's get everybody involved in the shit. Mm-hmm. Let's go get the whole world involved in our beef. That's the reason why I look at politics and I'm like, that's their shit. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
Look, Marcus, I want to highlight a comment made by Thomas, right? He said the Eurocentric hierarchy has been in control for hundreds of years. Today, they want to make it woke and put in people of color. Not only is that, and the plan is really genius by them, right? I mean, again, you have to give credit sometimes to your adversary because sometimes they do make good moves. That's a great move they did because now when the Democrats, for instance, recruit black people to run for their party and they put them on TV and shit like that, what do? They get black people to, without even thinking about it, co-sign their party and everything they stand for, even as everything they stand for in their party is anti-black as it gets. They'll just put one of them on there and they got you hooked. So it's a very cruel and crude, but very wise strategy for winning.
Yeah, Ruby says easier said than done. The average white person is as powerless as everybody else. I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
I agree with you. That's why I said that 1 to 10% up there who doing it. But they need to stop saying we are doing this. No, we ain't doing shit. You are doing this. What the Spanish Inquisition was about? The Spanish Inquisition was about kicking out Moors from ruling Spain, Portugal, and at a certain time, a little bit before then, the Moors had already lost their power in Spain. No. They had, I mean, not Spain, but they still had power into the UK. And so this was, the Spanish Inquisition was just a combination of what all of those major wars were during that time of the end of the Dark Ages, was pushing the Moors out of power, who had came in and seized power in Spain, Portugal, the UK, in a couple of provinces in France, in parts of Italy, and parts of Russia. I think maybe Germany was kind of one of the only areas that they really didn't take over. But the Moors basically control like a lot of area across Europe, and that's what a lot of that stuff, the Inquisitions and Spanish Inquisitions, was all about. Booting the black people, whether they were black Hebrews, black Arabs, or black Christians, because there was all three, and then there were just black atheists too who were involved. And when I say black, I don't mean just necessarily Africans. I mean anybody who was non-white. So it would have been some Arabs in there also, along with some black people, along with some Hamitic, some Japhet. It was a mixture, but they were all non-white people who had taken over that area. Yes, it's people try to put this, oh well, race is a newer concept. No, bullshit. You don't name what was it called? Akibalon, whatever. That was like one of the older names of Africa. You don't change it to calling it Ethiopia, which means burnt face, if you're not racist. The race has been going on for a long freaking time. And these people who try to tell you that this race stuff, this is a new concept, that's a lie. White people have always been the minority on this planet. And because of being the minority, and a disclaimer, I'm not saying every single white person. I'm talking about many of the leaders have taken this white versus them approach. Exactly. That's the point. Whiteness feels threatened, and that plays horrible defense only to harm non-white others. Exactly. A lot of those white people felt an insecurity because they're not darker. And so their mindset is they're going to attack me. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. So I need to do it to them first.
Angelica, that word is dead. We need to bury it now. Like, let's have a funeral for it. Let's say, we enjoyed its time here. Yep. But what we really need to do is bury that word woke, because they have fucked it all up. It doesn't even mean what it means. And, let's just look, they could take that. Well, as usual, we create new shit because, like I always say, we the sauce. So you know what? Y'all can take the shit that we created. We don't want it no more.
Well, here's something. You can be woke if you want to. Being woke is only one process. You got to get up and do something after you're woke. You got to get up and do something. Sitting up and first thing in the morning, all of us can open our eyes and sit up in the bed, but you don't get anything done till you get your ass out of that bed and you start working. So you can know all you want.
Exactly.
I don't even use the term woke. I always say awaken, because that's what I'm trying to do, y'all. That's why I call myself Young Morpheus. I'm trying to awaken people.
Yeah, like aware, Yeah, because I hear woke and I'm just like, oh God. Like when I see the people who are using woke, even offline, just in the street or in the store, when you have conversations with people, and those who, when you're a Black person, people talk to you differently. Non-Black folks talk to you differently, especially those who don't have, to interact with us every day, all day, right? Whenever they do see us in the supermarket or something, and you strike up a little conversation, they say shit, and it's just like, right? They're gonna take away now.
It's the same thing the Democrats did when they were like, I'm a progressive. Now they're progressive. Well, yeah. I'm a democratic socialist. Well, now I'm I'm a social democrat. Now I'm a social democrat. I'm a populist. Now I'm a populist. It's like that's why I left it all behind. But man, yeah. Hey Ross, you need to make sure that you come over to my classes. There's a lot that I can go into, because all of this stuff is biblical. It's all biblical. I could show you this. I could show you it all. Like I'm trying to remember, what did Gorilla say in that one song? He said, like Zoltar, I can show you your future in the Bible with no tarot cards.
That's a bar. Yeah, that's a bar. I'll give him that. Especially if you're yeah, that's why rap is so fun, because if you understand the references and you get everything, when you hear how they put it together, it just makes it so fun for your brain, and then you can look around and be like, yeah, I'm the only one who caught that shit. You know what I mean? That's how I love it. That's how I love the music.
All right, so at this point, I'm gonna give it like 1 minute. We're gonna hop over to Rockfin. That way we can speak a little clearly. I'm trying to remember, what song is that? I might even play. I can play that song real quick while we head out.
What song?
I'm trying to think of that Gorilla song.
What, Glorilla?
Nah. Gorilla Hebrew. You don't know about the Gorilla. Chief Priest Alazar Lawyer. What is it?
Angelic effects. It is class warfare, and it is intentional. I'm gonna post the link to the Rockfin in the chat too.
Yeah, make sure to post that in there. That way people can find us.
Pretty streets. I appreciate y'all coming through as usual. Thank y'all. And it's not Pretty Streets, it's Mr. Streets and Pretty. But I just didn't want anybody to think I was being funny.
We'll find that part.
No, words are Roz. Words are very powerful. That's how they keep our older family members stuck, right? They listen to the words on these cable news channels, and then they get emotionally worked up, emotionally manipulated.
I'm gonna put a little bit of this on for y'all real quick though. Let's see.
I bleed the fifth, bring that fire like Prometheus. I ain't tripping off that measly shit.
Dip, I keep the fifth Malak, just got some bullets, they heat seeking shit. I got an F, so I'm out here naked. But I'm protected by the angels, about the chief, yeah, Howard, he ain't playing. The gorilla, he go Super Saiyan. Went from plotting while he laying up out shooting, spraying, to leading the troops in salutes and praying. Did Big Hoover grooving, putting dudes in graves. Tripping like, who is you? Let's shoot the face. Only aspirations in life was moving weight. Now I'm teaching the youth, I know they taught you that you were slaves. But before that, you were Jews and you were great. Hey devil, this cup's for you. Take it to the face. Your extermination's the only way to save the human race. Moving fast like Mopar. Tell you the future like Zoltar with the Bible, not a tarot card. No sleep gang, Proverbs 6 and 4, no old blood.
There we go. Just a little taste. I don't know what you think about that, Chris. Oh, what was that? I can't hear you. You muted
My
yourself.
bad. I muted myself. No, I'm just saying I like his aggression. He's super aggressive. I just didn't expect him to curse as much.
Oh, he tell you curse a lot, and the chief don't play.
I'm not complaining about that. You know, I'm not offended. I just wouldn't have expected that. That's all.
All right. So on that note, we're gonna hop on over to the Rockfin side. I'll holler at everybody on the YouTube side. There we go. And remove.